Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin and the Food Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Justin Bizzarro, I'm your host, and today I have with me again our guest host, Mark Shortt of the Mark Explains podcast. How are you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing great, man, and it's been such a fun time being on here with you because I feel like we both have completely different angles in what we're doing with the podcast, yet so similar in our approach. And so I'm really thankful for being on here with you today.
I know I appreciate you taking so much time and being on here, and I love co-hosts because I don't have to talk the whole time, and it keeps me from saying a lot, so although it probably comes up quite a bit. But today I want to talk about, we had discussed a little bit about loving oneself through food last week. So I think that this week we'll concentrate on loving oneself through food and health and what that means, and loving the people around us through food.
Now that is a massive topic. And probably we could talk for 2 hours and do a full podcast on this, even though this is just a Motivational Monday. So maybe this will just be a teaser for a show that is to come in the future. But just to hit on real quick, I think, Justin, you love quotes.
Yeah. What's the quote of the day? I asked Mark to do the quote today.
The quote of the day today comes from a man named Elon D. Wolfelt. And he says that food is symbolic of love when words are inadequate.
I think I agree with that 100% because feeding people and feeding those who need food, it's a way of showing love to people. I think families come around food at a table during the holidays in a sign of love. That's why we bring our loved ones around during the holidays and we eat. Thanksgiving, Christmas in particular, Easter for us, or those of us who are Christian. And you know, other than Thanksgiving, I guess anyone can celebrate that in the countries that celebrate Thanksgiving. But for me, you know, loving oneself through food and loving other people through food. Like I love showing people I love them by bringing together and having parties and feeding them, having family dinner night and surrounding around food and what that means to people. And food entrepreneurs, we get to bring people together in loving situations all the time. If you're a restaurant owner or you produce a food product or a beverage, people come around that product often and drink or eat or give it as gifts to people they love. And so what we do with food can be a showing of love to people. And then also, for me, loving myself means eating better because taking care of myself, I think, is kind of a duty. I don't always eat well. I love food of any sort, and I'd go to any restaurant for anyone who wanted to go there if it was celebrating them for sure, because that's the way I love them. But loving myself and taking care of myself because I want to be around for a long time, and I don't want to rob people and cause people hurt and harm that I'm not around for a long time. And so, I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think we have a two-sided conversation here, or a two-faceted conversation, I should say. And half of that being is how we can incorporate food into love, into our everyday life. Because I love sitting down. And Janae, my girlfriend, she actually knows this about me and is the same way. If I am coming over and we are both planning on eating, she'll wait for me. And then we sit and we eat together, and that the food becomes a conduit of our connection. And so it's not actually about the food, it's about the connection. You know, it's this construct that we create that allows us to connect. And so I think that definitely should be the first part of what we talk about, is how food can connect us, because it does, and it can. And it's this really beautiful thing where people come together in order to eat, because the human species only needs 4 things to survive. It needs food, water, shelter, and sex. That's it. Those 4 things. So we don't need food to bring us together, to create this love environment, but food, it does in ways, because we don't need love. Like, we can survive without it. But when we use food as this conduit, when it pulls in this, when the meal becomes more than the meal.
Yep.
that's when we create this connection between humans that becomes, it's more than what we're doing. There's something else there. There's another factor there. And that's really what is so beautiful about having a meal with someone.
Yeah, and I think when we cook for people or we bring people together in our own households and we cook food, it is a way of loving them. We're taking care of their most basic needs. Mm-hmm. And appreciation and stuff like that for the things that people do around us and take care of us. I mean, we don't understand it. It becomes such a habit to eat 3 times a day or 4 times a day, or in my case, 7 times a day.
Or 8 times a day.
Yeah. That you don't appreciate how much love people are giving you when they cook for you or provide for you, or, you know, your significant other provides you with dinner, or your parents provide you with dinner growing up. There's a lot there. And in the food entrepreneur world, I mean, if we really look at it as we are not only serving people food, but we're bringing people together, and we bring people together to eat, we bring people together to enjoy our food or whatever, we're creating an opportunity for people to love one another and be at a place where they can love each other. You know, I actually want to touch on that actually. And we do this too often. I see this at restaurants too much, and I'm going to go off on a tangent. But the damn cell phones, people are out eating with each other and everyone's on their cell phone. There should be a no cell phone policy when you're with people in a restaurant. I know people are busy and stuff, but you're not really loving someone when you're not giving them your attention in a restaurant. Like, you're there to be together and enjoy each other's company. You should be there and present. That's a total side note of one of my pet peeves. And everyone's going to be like, whatever, and keep the kids busy, but I really think that it's really an opportunity to be together as a family, be together with people you care about, or friends, or even if it's work. I mean, it's an opportunity to connect with someone. Yeah,
well, I mean, everyone has the same amount of time. You know, you might have more money than me, or you might have more things than me, or you might have, more friends than me. But time is the great equalizer. And when we're sitting down, the greatest form of payment, the greatest kind of love I can show you is by giving you my time through my attention.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that 100%. Mm-hmm. And time is something we can give. It's our most limited resource probably as a human being because we never know when it's going to end.
No, and Beyonce has the same amount of hours in a day that I do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the most humbling thought in the world.
Yeah. There, Beyonce. We brought Beyonce into the podcast. And, but I think seriously, like, loving each other, I mean, it's, you know, we're breaking bread. We go back to Christianity and giving bread and all of that in the body of Christ. There's a lot of that in there, and nourishment and giving to people. You know, I talked a little bit last week about giving money to people on the street, but we can also give our leftovers instead of throwing it away. I mean, people that live in metropolitan areas, why let the waiter take away the food? You can show love towards people by boxing it up and finding someone on your way home and giving it to them. Like, I really think more people should do that. We should start a whole movement on that. Is no more leftovers at a restaurant. No more leftovers. Give it away. Like, find someone in your urban areas that have people that are homeless. Give away your food. Let them decide whether they want to eat it, but give them an opportunity to be fed, you know. So I think lots of companies give away their old food. I am in the food business and donate their time. But there's a whole thing we can do as restaurants and restaurateurs and food people is encourage our patrons to go box and donate it.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I just looked up real quick how much food the U.S. throws away annually, and it's right around 60 million tons of food, worth about $160 billion. Every year, we throw that away. And that can be donated. It can be boxed up. It can be leftovers. Like, we are wasteful people.
Yeah. And I think we want to take care of people for sure. And a lot of our tax dollars go into it if I were to take it full circle. But think about how much tax dollars we could save about feeding and helping the homeless or people that are less fortunate than us if we just took our leftovers and gave it to someone. You know, and it's a little bit weird, but it's still food.
It's
it
only
should still be weird.
It's only weird because culturally that's what we believe. It's a construct that our culture has created. Like in the same sense that a large age gap between a guy and a girl dating, or a male and a female and a female, like two individuals dating, a large gap is culturally weird. That's it. It's just weird because somebody said, hey, that's weird. Yep. You know, if we can get over that gap, if we can get over the taboo that is created in our culture, then we can begin to minimize the waste and the resources that we're just throwing down the drain.
Well, and it is a way we can show love very easily. Mm-hmm. And again, we go back to food. It's why waste it? You know, why not show our love for other human beings through food and create environments for food to be that? There's got to be something. I mean, someone's got to have a business plan out there or something that where you can go around to places and pick up leftover food. But, you know, it's a little bit weird that it's half eaten, so we're going to have to get over that stigma. I agree with you. It's just something that's not done now. But if we do it, it doesn't have to be that way.
You know what? It's also inconvenient, and we are a nation of convenience. And so when we can get over ourselves and we can get over the idea that this might be a little tough, but there's people literally starving in your city right now where you live.
Yep. And, you know, I am a fan of giving people the means to take care of themselves. But if we're wasting things and people are hungry, there's no reason not to give it to them. Yep. And, you know, it's something we can show our children starting now. And if we show our children now, 20 years from now, it's not going to be something that's weird. Yeah. You know, it's all about what we start now and how we come together now. And anyone who's out there with a restaurant or a catering company, I'm like, this is it's something could be really great in helping people. And how do we encourage people to take their leftovers and donate it to someone? Because it would make me feel really good. Like I spend all this money on food and I have waste and I can take it home and eat my leftovers. But if I'm not going to do that, I should be encouraged to grab my leftovers and give it to someone on my way home. How can I help someone?
That's really good.
And, you know, maybe it's a food truck. You know, maybe there's food trucks in restaurant districts that just collect people's leftover takeout boxes, you know, the takeout box. And they go around and they take the takeout boxes and they go give it to people on the street and food. I don't know, but maybe someone out there wants to explore that concept. I'm giving it away for free.
That's for free. You know, I think the other side of this conversation is goes back to what we were talking about last week, is self-love. And that's self-love through what we put into our bodies. And this is really something that has been hard for me because I have a quote, and if you listened in last week, you know about my giant board on my wall. I have a quote on my wall that says, how you do anything is how you do everything. And that translates to every part of your life. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything. You can't expect somebody who's terrible with finances to launch a successful business. That's everything plays into everything. And if I want to be successful in every part of my life, I need to start with the things that are important within my own body. I need to feed and nourish myself like in a healthy platform. I need to start self-love by feeding my body nutrients that it needs. And our world is littered with garbage. And so you need to start with yourself, because if how you do anything is how you do everything, and you are feeding yourself garbage and you don't treat your body right, and you're sleeping 5.5, 6 hours a night, and your stress level is through the roof, that will play and translate into every other part of your life.
Yeah, and I think it's a balance thing, really. If we were really to talk about it, people think, oh, well, I got to get rid of carbs, or I got to get rid of this, or get rid of that, or I can't eat this food or at this restaurant. It's not really about that. It's about balance. And we've talked a lot on this show with other entrepreneurs, and they have restaurants, and they're going to their local farmers. They're getting their local products. They're getting more nutritionally dense products because it is locally sourced and it hasn't been off the vine or off the tree or butchered that long. And doing that, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, or if you slap cheese on it or mayonnaise or whatever. If you're getting healthier meat, if you're getting healthier food, if you're buying locally and supporting that with the people around you, then that's a much better product, you know, and you're starting to take care of yourself. You know, We do it with everything else. We won't, people put premium gasoline in their car. We should put premium food in our body.
We should. Actually, that's a great point, because I heard somebody say a long time ago, you put rocket fuel in a rocket, and you put ethanol, like the alcohol race car, and the race car fuel in a race car. Like, don't piss in your gas tank.
Yeah.
Like, put good fuel in your body.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what it was designed for. And if you want to make large changes, if you hear this and also be like, I need to go keto, or I need to go paleo. Okay, well, let's first have a conversation and talk, because like my girlfriend actually runs her own nutritional food company. Shameless plug, Fractal Performance Nutrition. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram. But regardless, we can have those conversations, but if you want to create longevity with health, you need to create small steps. Like one small thing. I'm going to change one small thing in my life, and when that begins to become a habit, I'm going to change one more thing, because that's how you create balance as you move forward.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it, is how do you create the habits on a small scale, and loving yourself so you can love other people, and being healthy is part of it. And that's not saying, I need to eat health food. That's just saying I need to make wiser choices.
That's it.
I can still have peppers. Maybe I just don't buy frozen peppers. Maybe I make fresh peppers every once in a while. There's a small start. And there's really no significance in the difference, other than I argue there may be more nutritional value in a fresh pepper.
It's possible.
And we'll have to have someone on the episode that can talk more about that. But I think the small things like that, maybe it's pasture-raised pork versus regular pork, because pork's a relatively cheap item in the United States or around the world. Maybe it's you just pick a healthier pork. Yeah. And we talked about this on the first Motivational Monday, is how do we speak with our wallets? And we talked a little bit about on your show again, on episode 11 of the Mark Explains podcast, is we speak through our money.
Yeah. Every dollar spent.
And so if we want more of those healthier options, and we want more of those things on the shelves, we just have to do it. It's out there. And in the restaurants that are doing it, we need to support them. I think sustainability and locally sourced is a big deal. The restaurants that are doing it, and we've had quite a few of them, and the people that are making their own food products that are sourcing those products locally, that's a big deal. It's not... and there are sodas that can be healthy that are locally sourced or made from hibiscus, and I can never say it, hibiscus, and things like that are hugely valuable. Teas that are coming about, and things that show huge health benefits that, we can do it. And that's not saying you shouldn't have, fried chicken sandwich here and there. Like, that's okay. Like, we should enjoy our food, and it should bring us happiness and love. I definitely eat fried chicken all the time. I just ate some wings, and
well,
I love wings.
I think it's important to remember that you are who you are consistently, not who you are periodically.
Yeah.
So if you eat like garbage all the time and then have a salad, you're not healthy.
Yeah.
And then also, if you eat really, really well all the time, and then you go out on a Friday night and have pizza and 3 beers, you're not unhealthy. Like, exactly. You are who you are consistently.
Yep. And it's progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
I mean, making progress in any direction and not having to be perfect. I think we can't expect to have a perfect diet 7 days a week. We can't expect to be perfect in loving someone or loving ourselves 24/7, but the smallest thing we do all the time where we can create habits is that food. So, maybe it's not going to the grocery store once a week and buying the whole grocery store. Maybe it's, I go twice to 3 times to every day, depending on my schedule, and I pick up something I can do fresh every day. And it doesn't have to be complicated. There's plenty of things that people do that make things easier. And I think your sister actually has a blog that does that.
She does. It's called Real Food with Jessica. You can find her on, just Google it. She runs a paleo, Whole30, low FODMAP website that has ridiculously good recipes, but they're easy and they're fast.
Yep.
And that's what gets me, is because a lot of times you come across those and you're like, they're so complex. But these are easy and fast, and that's what gets me.
Yeah, and I think that's hugely important. We're going to have her on the show at some point.
Absolutely. She is so awesome.
And
her little girl JoJo too. So cute.
And so I think there's something to be said in food and health and eating well. And I think the restaurants that we go to that are cooking fresh food, it doesn't, we may perceive mashed potatoes or we may perceive things as not healthy, but if it's freshly prepared, there is a benefit to that. And asking those questions, and a lot of the restaurateurs, food trucks, and the people that are on this show are making their stuff from scratch. You know, and that's a huge thing. We're not putting artificial ingredients in those foods. And a lot of people that are doing food products that are on this show are trying not to use artificial preservatives. And so what does that mean? And what does it mean for me? What does it mean for you? You know, the more natural food can get, the better our body processes them. And, you know, for me, a clean label means a lot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately or fortunately, we've got to a point where we put a lot of artificial things into our body when we eat.
Well, because it's cheap and easy.
Yeah.
And, you know, it takes time. You know, and it's inconvenient to be healthy in our modern society. And I think, you know, if this podcast has struck you, if this Motivational Monday has hit you and you're like, man, I need to make some big changes, take this one thing away, and that's don't swing the pendulum. Because the idea, like if you're an extremist, like I think Justin might be at times, is you want to dive in. Oh, I need to make all these changes, and you dive into the world of keto, and then your entire life. Well, guess what? You just swung the pendulum, and guess where it's going to come back. You're gonna be great for 2 weeks, and then one day you're gonna eat a pound of cake. And then you're going to feel so bad that you'll just let it all go down the drain. And all of a sudden you're back to where you were. Don't swing the pendulum. As Justin said earlier, find the balance. Small changes. That's what gets you momentum. That's what gets you progress, is small changes.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I don't want to discourage anyone, but it just takes a little bit at a time, you know, and you're not going to see results or changes immediately. It takes time. I think we talked about it last week's episode also about, you know, making sure you set timers on your calendar to go back and look at the things you've accomplished on the way there. Sometimes we look back and we forget, and food does create habits. You know, you will be amazed at when you change little things in your life, such as the way you eat or eating a little bit different or making food from scratch and making it simple, that there is benefits. You feel better about yourself, and you're putting more love into it, and then you're sharing that love with people. And a lot of people that are coming into the world, whether they're restaurants or entrepreneurs, we've talked on an episode with a girl, Melanie Wade, that does kombucha, and she has a kombucha tap room. So you go there and it's like a bar, but it's only kombucha.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And so, you know, there's healthier ways, and there's ways we can make it social and healthy living and eating that can be fun and social and amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's not always going to be that way. I mean, you're still going to have things in life. We're still going to have the things that we love, like fried chicken. I will never give up fried chicken, just so everyone knows. But it's, what can I do? You know, if I eat healthy most of the time, or I watch what I eat most of the time, then maybe I reward myself with some fried chicken.
Yeah, so I would say, like, if you at this point have some questions, like if you know you need motivation, you know you need change, but you don't know what to do, you can always reach out to us. You can reach out to Justin or myself. I mean, it's not like we're experts, but we know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would say asking questions is the first step in creating change, especially if you don't know what to do. Like, you know something has to change, but you don't know what or where or how. Begin to ask questions, because those questions can lead to conversations, and those conversations can lead to change.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. We can help anyone, and that's why we do this podcast. That's why I don't advertise. I don't charge any fees. I don't take anything. I don't want anything. I want to give this all away to help people and help people learn from one another. But I also think there's plenty of people out there that are in the restaurant world or in the food entrepreneur world or beverage entrepreneurs that have stuff they can share to help people.
Yeah.
And we hear about it on this show, and I really want people to tune in. We've heard about teas, and we've heard about kombucha, and we've heard about the market that while they're making burgers, they're locally sourcing that beef. or if they're doing, beef brisket, that's locally sourced grass-fed beef. And there is a difference. It doesn't matter what people say. Having corn finished beef is different, and you're adding a lot of sugar to beef up the cows.
Yeah.
And we are taking that into ourselves, and it's the cycle of life. And we just need to be aware of it, and we need to be aware of what we're doing to ourselves. That's not, and I'm not saying don't eat things or don't eat beef jerky that's been on the show, or don't eat any of those things. I think those things are great, and everyone should experience the food they love.
Sure, absolutely.
And enjoy it and be happy and love themselves for the food they eat. But loving themselves also in doing what they love means also taking care of themselves. So I think there's plenty of food. I love cookies. Like, cookies are like one of my things, and I love chocolate. But I know that in order to enjoy it and really enjoy it, I have to also take care of the other part. Because if I just eat chocolate all the time, it becomes a habit, and I don't get to enjoy it so much. We've sort of talked about it, where if I'm doing it for the wrong reasons, it's not sustainable. The joy, the dopamine we talked about in the last episode isn't there anymore with the chocolate, because I do it all the time. It's not a reward anymore.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? Like, if this is Motivational Monday, how are people finding motivation through food? Let's wrap things up here.
Well, I think one is we need to ask someone out to lunch. Take someone out, open up, give them food, share the food that you like with someone else.
Become vulnerable.
Yeah, become vulnerable. Use food as the safe place to become vulnerable. And share something. You never know when you're going to be helping someone.
Yeah. So invite someone out to lunch. If you want to make that me or Justin, we will not refuse. We will gladly eat all of the food that you buy for us, free of charge. And then share something vulnerable about yourself to kind of touch on the last two. That it might be a little fear in there, but you're creating a connection, a bond through food and spreading love, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, and 2 weeks ago we talked about Charlie Day's quote and fear. Ask someone out that you're afraid to ask out if you're single, or you want someone to mentor you. Ask them out and tell them you'll buy them dinner or buy them lunch. I mean, people don't refuse free food, and be loving in it, and give hugs, man. Give those hugs. Do it when you meet someone. Every time you go out to eat or you meet someone for a meal or a coffee, give them a hug. I think that's hugely important. And come together with food. Use food as a way to bring people together, and use food as gifts. I think we often give material gifts and stuff, and they don't last very long anyway. No. They're short-term, so why not give people food and share it with them? Whether it's a gift for Christmas and stuff like that. Support your local food purveyors and entrepreneurs and your local farmers, and give food. Really, show your love to the people around you in your communities. And as we said, also give away your food that you're not going to eat. Find someone. We often throw food out. I do it in my own household. There's probably a better way and something I can do with that food I'm throwing away. Is there a local place I can donate it to? Maybe they already have too much. I don't know. But what can I do myself? There's probably another business idea out there of a company that just goes around to people's homes and collects their old food and then cooks it on the food truck right for the homeless. There may be a grant in there somewhere for someone.
Yeah, we need royalties for that. Yeah. But just in shout outs, all you have to do is just mention our podcast. That's all we do.
Yeah, I know. Please share it. And again, we're doing this because we want to, and we want people to grow, and we want people to learn, and we want to give back to the food world. So love each other through food. Another hashtag. We've come up with another one this week. Hashtag love people through food, and love one another through food. We'll see which one sticks.
People.
That's the one. Yeah. And so, Mark, thank you again for being on another episode.
This has been great, man. And I really feel like the solidarity that we're creating and what we're doing is just so good. There's the reason why we're doing this is just to connect people, just to show love, to bring people to a place where we can lift each other up. And that's it. That's what it's all about.
And those of you who aren't food entrepreneurs, there's plenty of entrepreneurs that are on this show that have come on and try to help people. And obviously they're doing it to promote what they're doing, but they're also doing it to help those around me. I mean, they deserve a lot of love and respect, and I appreciate them for sure. And I'm extremely grateful that they've been vulnerable and come on the show and been authentic. And, Lastly, I just want to really repeat how important it is that food can be the vehicle with which we love one another.
Yeah.
It brings us together. It is something that we can do to show people we love them. And it's something we can do to love ourselves, by eating in ways that loves us, and taking care of us and our body is a way that we love ourselves. And we were given this life. We should try to live it as long as possible because that's what we should be doing. Because the longer we live it, the longer we have to give back to someone and love other people. And you never know what impact we're going to have on someone. So as we wrap up, I just want to finish up. Hug someone, ask someone out to eat, pay for that meal, and be vulnerable. Tell them something you don't love about yourself. We've really connected the last 3 weeks with this podcast. Even though you're afraid, ask someone out to eat, hug them, be vulnerable with them, and connect with them. Thank you, everyone. And again, you can find Mark Shortt on his podcast, Mark Explains. And you can find me right here at Justin and the Food Entrepreneurs. I'm Justin Bizzarro. Thank you, everyone, for listening and sticking by through another Motivational Monday. Get pumped up, people. It's another fucking week. You're alive. You've lived again another week to eat some food, damn it. And so eat up, drink up, have a good week. Ask someone out to lunch, hug people, and enjoy your life. Seriously, you only get one chance at it. And you can reach me at justin.bizzarro@gmail.com. That's BIZZARRO@gmail.com. And what are you about to say, Mark? I see Mark, he's itching there to say something on the mic.
I'm just excited to eat some of this goat jerky. It's in front of me.
Yeah.
Thanks, man, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. I can't wait to do another podcast with you.
Gonna do it.
Thank you, everyone, and have an amazing week. Have an amazing Monday, and so long for now.